If you have a fuel filter, start by inserting both unions into both ends of the fuel filter. Using special Allen wrenches, tighten the unions. Raise the vehicle so you can access the bottom side of the car. Remove the front 13mm bolt from the fuel tank strap. Loosen the rear bolt. On the under tray, remove all the inner 10mm nuts to gain access to run the fuel line. Route the fuel line up behind the engine along the firewall. Stay close to the passenger side of the vehicle. Continue to route the fuel line between the under tray and body of the vehicle. Once in place, you may tighten the 10mm nuts to secure the under tray. Be sure to tighten the nuts. Do not over-tighten as the plastic nuts will strip. Bend the heat shield outward and begin to route the fuel line up and through. It should look like this once routed. We will connect the fuel line to the engine in just a moment. Now we will remove the rear seat. Pull the rubber grommet up and pop the fuel pump cover to gain access to the fuel pump. Unplug all plugs from the fuel pump before popping off the stock OEM fuel line. This step is crucial to ensure the pump doesn't spray the interior of your vehicle. Please note when removing the fuel line, be sure to cover it as there may be pressure buildup in the system. From under the car, slide the short fuel line up and over the fuel tank to connect to the fuel pump. Connect the 90-degree push-connect fitting to the fuel pump and tighten the top of the short fuel line to the fitting and tighten. Pull on the adapter to make sure the C-clip is installed correctly. Depending on which option you have, connect the fuel filter or union. You may now tighten the 10mm plastic nuts on the under tray. Be cautious not to strip them out. Tighten both 13mm fasteners for the fuel tank strap. Now we jump to the engine bay. First, remove the high-pressure fuel pump.
So what we have is our fuel line fitting, upgrade fitting for our fuel line. You're going to get two of these. One will go on the high-pressure fuel pump, and then one will go on your stock fuel rail. If you get one of our fuel rails, you won't need this for the fuel rail. You'll have a socket and a collet, and then your O-ring will be inside the other part, the AN side. You got some tools. So a socket that will fit inside of your AN socket, so that you can push your collet down in there. And I like having an extension, gives you a little more leverage, and then a small screwdriver too. The best way to go about getting both these fittings on is taking your fuel rail off, or and your fuel pump. You can get the most leverage on it, and especially the high pressure fuel pump, because there's not a whole lot of room in that space in front of the engine. So first, what you're going to do is you're going to push the socket over with the threads up, and that'll just slide right over. And then you're going to take your collet, and it's cut so that it slides over the first barb, and it'll slide over this barb right here. It'll sit right in that groove. That'll keep your AN fitting socket on your barb. So you're going to stick your tool in there, and then it'll push it down part of the way, and then you use the screwdriver or screwdrivers to push it the rest of the way, and it'll snap into place, and your AN socket is now capped on your barb. And you'll be able to see in there maybe, so you see your collet spinning, that means it's down, and you can see it's down below that first barb. So that's now kept on there, and then your O-ring seals against your the part of the barb here. It seals up against right in here, and you tighten these. Turn these on, and then you tighten them together with a wrench. They should be pretty tight. If they're still leaking, you need to tighten it some more. And then you got your high pressure fuel pump adapted to -6, and that'll be exactly the same for the fuel rail, the stock fuel rail.
Connect the fuel line to the high pressure fuel pump. Reinstall the high pressure fuel pump. Ensure the high pressure fuel pump cam follower is still in the block. Install the hardline. Note, it is easier to connect it before tightening the high pressure fuel pump. For the port injector fuel rail, follow the same steps from the high pressure fuel pump to put the fitting on. Connect the fuel line to the Y junction and connect the ethanol content sensor. It should look something like this. Key on the car a couple of times to build pressure in the system and check for any leaks. Tighten the fittings until the leaks stop. If you have any questions, leave a comment, send us an email, or call us. Thank you for choosing Iroz Motorsport.